check this out. 80s Motul. And look at that, that's a DeLorean on the side. You don't get more 80s than that, maybe a Testarossa. So what is 80s Motul? It's motor oil for 80s cars. And it's one of the things that we're here to see at this special event here at the Silverstone Classic, which is run by Motul. They're reintroducing themselves into the UK market, and they're featuring a number of different things here. For example, they're celebrating an anniversary of their very famous oil. I think it's like 50 years of that oil. More importantly, they're introducing stuff like this, special oil. They already have a range for 50s and 60s and stuff like that, but now you've got 80s and 90s. So these are for cars or modern classics that if you buy, this is the correct formula oil that will work with those cars. In addition to that, they are talking about the other stuff that they provide for classic cars, all of the stuff they do for motorsports and the events that they sponsor and all of that they cover. And amazingly, they've also got a car, an actual car that they are launching and revealing right here at this event, which effectively has been built entirely using Motul facilities and equipment and resources and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm excited to see what that's going to be about. So there follows here after this a full press conference that tells you everything you need to know about Motul, Motul globally and Motul in the UK. Before we do that, make sure that you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Make sure that you're following me on browncarguy.com and all the socials as well. Just search for my hashtag browncarguy. And if you like my content, then sponsor it over at patreon.com/browncarguy. Cool, let's get into this.
Thank you so much for joining us today, so many people. I'm very pleased to be here. I would like to start I would like to apologize for two things. The first one is the weather. We were planning to come with the sun, but because of the COVID testing and so on, at the border they said no way, you can't come with the sun. I would like to apologize for my very bad French accent, but I will do my best. Very pleased to be here. I joined Motul back to 10 years ago, and step by step, Motul is becoming much stronger at international level, including in UK. It has been many years we are supporting Isle of Man Tourist Trophy. We started 3-4 years ago to support as well Goodwood Revival, and this year this is the very first time at Silverstone. So again, personally, I'm very pleased to be here with you today. Can we move to the... So I will show you a few slides. I will do my best to do it quickly, just to give you an overview of the Motul brand. For sure, you have seen this logo on many different racetracks, but I think it's always useful to get a little bit more info on the brand. Okay, so today, basically, we will give you a few info about Motul being a specialist and the long history we have. Motul has always been a kind of pioneering company. Motul was the first one, for example, to come with the fully synthetic technology in the automotive markets. The footprint will be the third point of today we have at international level. Few info about the technologies, and last but not least, the recognition we have from the OEMs, because this is something very strong at Motul. We are developing lubricants, but we get the trust and the approval of most of the biggest OEMs. Black and white picture. Motul is not marketing company. We are authentic company, established 1853. We have this all this heritage in our blood. Established, the very first Motul building was in New York, established in US. Could you please go back? In 1932, there was a French guy called Mr. Zog. He started to import Motul products in France under the company name Supra Pen, because Supra means superior quality, pen for Pennsylvania, and clearly at that time in the 30s, the oil coming from Pennsylvania was the best one worldwide with this quality image. And from 1958 there was some troubles in the US, and finally the Motul importer, Mr. Zog, decided to take over the company, all the products, formulas, and the name of the company. So from 1953, Motul became a truly French company. And then we started to develop many innovations in our, let's say, industry. The very first one to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the company, 1953, Motul was the first one to come with a multi-grade oil. Before that, between winter and summer, you needed to change the oil in your engine. After that, coming with multi-grade technology, you put it and then you can keep it for the entire year. 1966, second biggest innovation at Motul, we came with, for the very first time, with semi-synthetic lubricants. Before that, the best quality lubricant was castor oil, mainly used for all type of activities, including racing. The lubrication was good, but many deposits inside the engine. And semi-synthetic was the first answer. And the ultimate innovation was 1971. Motul was the first one to think that potentially we could adapt the technology from airplane, fully synthetic lubricant, and to make it compatible for automotive needs. It was extremely big revolution at that time. Now we feel it is normal to have a fully synthetic written on the can, but at that time it was the very first company to launch such products. And then I will go a little bit faster on this one, but 2011 we created a new technology which is ester core, means high quality, best in class esters in the formulas of our products. 2016 Motul was the first one not to launch a single hybrid product, but to come with an entire line of products. Again, it was new at that time. And 2018, we came with a new innovation, which is 300V square, providing exactly the same performance as 300V, fully synthetic, racing purpose, and so on, but on top coming with organic base. This year is a big momentum, for us worldwide. As I said, 1971, Motul came with this innovation, the Motul 300V, fully synthetic lubricants. And this year we are celebrating the 50th anniversary. You can see on the screen, but the real car is here, from 74, Motul Formula 1 BRM. I know someone from the BRM Paul is here. I will not talk too much about the car because clearly this guy knows everything about it. He is the one having the red cap, so should you have any question about BRM and Motul, you should ask to this guy. And then just to let you know that part of this history, we have supported many British teams, BRM for sure, and another example is Tom Walking Show Racing. You can see the Mazda who won the 24 hours of Spa in 1981 on the screen. Motul is not only specialist for cars, for racing. As you might know, we are heavily involved as well in motorcycle, and you can see on the screen as well two successes we had. 1993 with the famous US Kevin Schwantz, who became world champion with Motul and Suzuki. And we have been supported as well for many years, the legendary Valentino Rossi, and you can see as well a picture on the screen. You can see on the screen some of the values we have at Motul and all the things we do at every step of the company, whether it is top management, business, the relationship we want to establish with the clients, the partner or the fans. This is our roadmap. Every time we do something, and we will explain you a little bit better the things we have prepared for Silverstone. But clearly we have this place to host and to share the spirit, the passion with the fans. This is brotherly spirits. We have the racing lab. Andy will talk about it in a few minutes because of the specialist value. So yeah, this is truly our roadmap. Few words about the several institutions we are supporting. We are the worldwide partner of FIVA, International Classic Car Federation. We have a long relationship with them, and each time they have some question on the preserving the heritage, preserving the knowledge, training the new people, and of course all matters related to oils, because For preserving such vehicles, you need a specific oil inside to make sure that when you restart the engine in 10, 20, 30 years, it can work in good condition. So for all these matters, we are working with the FIMA. We are the official lubricant partner as well of the FIN, International Motorcycle Federation, Automobile Club de l'Ouest, the famous organizer of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and we have very strong commitment in terms of CSR as well. The very first one you can see on the screen, this is French initiative Fondation du Patrimoine, but with them we have preserved 50 cars in the past 10 years. So each year, you know, some museum clubs in France, they are applying to this Fondation du Patrimoine, and we have some criteria, but if they are selected, Motul is the one financially supporting the project, just to make sure that we can continue to preserve the classic vehicles in France. Motul Corazon is the company foundation we have, and clearly this one, I was talking a few minutes ago about preserving the knowledge, helping the teenagers and so on. This foundation has been established 8 years ago and targeting the teenagers, the young people, providing tools for life, and 95% all the projects we are supporting worldwide, they are related to the training, the transmission, helping these people to get a job, learning the way they can maintain the vehicles. So yeah, again, this is something pretty important for us. And I give the mic to Camilo, who is a specialist for the motorsports.
Hello everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Camilo Furimeni. I'm in charge at global level for motorsports partnerships, basically what we're doing here. So I'm going to talk to you guys roughly about what we do quite briefly in regards to the products and how we take profit of the partnership so we can develop technical relationships with our teams and the events that we support. Very important for us. Can we go back please? One more. Forward. Yet again. Thank you. Okay, we have a very extensive range of products. What do I mean by this? We basically have oil for anything that you guys need. You can start from the cars that Roman just mentioned, as well as the bikes, but we even do for marine gardening products or anything that needs a loop, we have the product for it. Our products are all engineered in France. Basically, we use these events partnerships as a laboratory. Basically, that's why we have a racing laboratory on site. We bring it with us to most of the events that we go, and all of that information that's gathered live during these events is transmitted to France for formulation of new products. And as well, the partnerships work for us as well to develop these approvals that we get from the OEM. For example, in the US, we have a partnership in IMSA with BMW, which allowed us to have a certification to have BMW validate our products. And it's the same with all of the brands that you can see on the screen. There's Circle, there's Honda, there's Porsche, Peugeot, Group. Basically, the products are proven to work with all of these OEMs and certificated to work at this. In regards to the supported championships, we have two axes. There's like the road side going and the prototype side going on both ways, motorcycles and cars. We're the naming major sponsor of the World Superbike. World Superbike is a championship that's made out of road-going bikes that are prepared to race. And also we have main events in MotoGP, which is, as most of you should know, hopefully, it's the prototype racing, the Formula 1 side of motorcycles. In cars, we have the World Endurance Championship, where there's prototypes and GT cars racing, and as well as IMSA in the US, where we have a major GT partnership. The idea of it is GTs are cars that are more road going, and through the WEC we have prototype racing, which allows us to develop further products. And in those categories, we're not there just for naming. As Roman said, we're not a marketing company, although we love what we do and we are all marketers. We all have technical backgrounds behind us. And in these championships, we have teams that are all racing with our products that you guys can see all behind you guys. products that are given and sold to the customer market, everyone, are the same products that are used in these cars. In regards to supported events, specifically, we are in the Roof of Africa, for example. It's an event that takes place in South Africa. It's an enduro race. It's a very wild, very dirty event. We have proper prototype motorcycle racing as MotoGP, Le Mans. In the car, Silverstone Classic here, and World Endurance Championship, 24 Hours of Le Mans. I could keep going, but basically this is just to give a quick overview of the biggest events in which we're embarking. Okay, in regards to research and development, Andy will talk a little bit more about the racing lab, but it's to explain to you guys that the research that we do is mostly on-site and with the teams. In Japan, for example, we have a partnership with Nismo. As you guys know, in the back we have a GT3, GTR, and we have exactly the same approach to that. The oils that are given to them, they have to be brought back to us and analyzed afterwards to develop in the future further products that will be then applied to the mass market. We have a very specific case with Nismo in regards to the transmission oil that they were having a lot of problems back in the day. And thanks to insights that we learned at the track, we managed to save the transmissions of the GTRs by changing the loops and some of the, I can go into details, but some of the things that are going inside of there to maintain the transmission of those cars. International partnerships, same. I'm not going to go into details because I would stay here talking with you guys probably the whole afternoon, but we have in car market, we have Roof, Caterham, Brabus, Radical, in PCMO, in heavy duty, marine, in ITs. It's basically to explain it again, we have the look for whichever type of appliance that you guys need. And now I'm going to give up to the local market.
Thank you, Milo. I also apologise for my terrible French accent, but before we get on, so we'll start talking about our core markets and what we're doing in the UK and Ireland. So I'm the country manager responsible for that. If we could go to the next slide. So basically, when we look at how we divide the pillars of our business up, we have our PCMO business, passenger car, motor oil, power sports, so anything on two-wheel. We have heavy duty, industrial, we have our additive and cleaning products, and then we have some of our e-systems which we'll come on and talk about in some detail. So, totally through our history and in our DNA, we have racing, motorsport, we have our daily use of obviously ordinary standard oils for all the passenger cars. Classic market, which is what we're here to sort of celebrate, is obviously key to us. Future-proof with everything that's changing in the next few years, so a very important pillar for Motul and for us. We see it as key to our success in the UK in particular, which is why we support Silverstone Classic, including Revival and all of the teams and ambassadors that we're happy to share with us here today. We're also, as been mentioned, talking about electric and hybrid. We've got a massive range for that, one of the most extensive in the market, so we are looking to the next phase, the next generation, and that's key for us. So in terms of our PCMO range, it's there on the shelves behind you, but it's a very comprehensive range, covers everything you could possibly need, from the classics, the heritage, right the way through to the modern engine oils, ATF, transmission. We have all the supporting equipment as well to support the change of that, transmission fluids. We have car care, which is a new product launch that we've just refreshed and brought out. Again, we have some samples at the back, which we welcome you to have a little look at, but we've had some great feedback on that already, so really pleased with that. All the coolants, all the hydraulic fluids as well available. All the greases, brake fluids, windscreen washer, all the additives, both B2B and B2C, so a real comprehensive range covering everything you can possibly need. Hybrid, we've mentioned, that's something that we're not just very proud of what we've got today, but also the next phase generation. There's lots of new references and part numbers coming out supporting all the modern cars that are coming out. The coolant, as we all know, is becoming more and more important. We do a wide range of those and we'll continue to do so. I'm going to pass over to Andy, but before I do, I would also just like to thank, as I've said, our ambassadors that are here supporting us with the vehicles you can see. So thanks to all of them. To our main 2 distributors here today, Witham, Nigel and your team, thank you for all the support you've given us to put on this great event. Also Chris from Nemesis, we thank you for your team support as well. And also introduce one of our board members, Hugh Dowding, here to my right. If there's any problems with your oil, please blame him. You can talk to him afterwards. But no, it's great that you can come over and support us, and we do appreciate that. So I'll pass over to Andy, who's going to cover some of the new products.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our new products and some of the reasons why we're here today. It's a big event, and we thought, why not share this event with some exciting news. So, as part of our classic range, we've extended that, and it's officially being launched today at this show. And we've done that by adding on 2 new grades of oil, which is our 80s and 90s oil. These were the 2 that were kind of absent from our range, and what we've seen with the classic car market is there's younger people and new cars coming into that era, possibly driven by the electrification and diversification, and also piston head petrol kind of folk that want to hold on to that nostalgia. And those engines need to be looked after, and we thought, we looked at it and decided that we needed to bring some to the range, and we needed to use our modern technology of today in the yesterday's vehicles. So the 80s and 90s range are dedicated for the cars of that era, with the correct formulation which will allow the catalytic converters which the modern engines would potentially damage in effect. So next one, Simon. Again, with that theme of modern technology in yesterday's cars, this is something that we've brought along to us. This is the lab that are displayed in both paddocks, the international and national paddock. What this does is it takes an oil sample and breaks down that oil sample in a way that gives us the data back to allow us to understand what's actually happening inside that engine. And this helps with early detection of engine components wearing prematurely, constituent parts starting to break down, and we can pick that out and inform drivers, inform technicians, mechanics, cars on how to better prevent that, but also it allows us to understand what we need to do in our formulation mix to continue to bring out the best oils to then preserve that engine. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons why 300D is used so commonly across the motorsport paddock. But that knowledge from F1 and F2 cars in all our motorsport events is then brought back to the roads, and it then used in the oils that you can buy for your road going cars, and that's one of the reasons why these 80s and 90s oils have come about. The next thing that we launched this year, and again we're bringing to the show, was our classic car range. This was an extension. We did a motorcycle range that was received very, very well by the motorcycle community, but we didn't have it in the car. So we set to work, and we brought out a new range consisting of 11 products. 4 of those are for interior, 4 for exterior, and then 3 quick help products such as tyre welds and scratch removers, and then 6 complementary accessories to help maintain keeping your car fresh. So not only are we thinking about the insides of your engine, we're also thinking about the outsides of your engine as well. One of the biggest things that we've got, and hence why I'm on a mic that can move, is our BioClean unit, which is kindly serving dual purpose as a drinks cabinet today, but that's fine because it's there's a reason why we can do that. So the BioClean unit is a new unit concept, and again we're launching it here at Silverstone Classic. It's an environmental, sustainable parts washing system. So like your traditional part washing systems where you're using a solvent base and a chemical base, which is breaking down oils and greases, but also breaking down the oil and greases in your hands whilst you're using it. BioClean is 100% safe to the environment, but it's also 100% safe to the staff using it. So you can use this fluid with no PPE on as such, due to the fact of the nature of it. How that actually does what it does is it uses a biochemical technology. So as the oil is entering the fluid, the actual chemical basis of the machine is breaking those greases and components down into their constituent parts, which will allow you to keep reusing the fluid. We had our friends in Suzuki, Japan, thought they would put that to the test. I'm not sure they quite believed us, it was as good as what we said it was. So they poured 1 litre of oil into the actual machine. And within 24 hours, 3/4 of that oil had dissipated into the bioenzyme, had eaten it up. Within 48 hours, it was back to pure fluid again. So next time around that mechanic comes to use it, it wasn't a solvent that was slowly getting that sort of build-up and losing its effectiveness. It was 100% effective. But it's also safe on all the engine components and the things like stainless steel. You won't get the staining that you would with a normal solvent-based machine. So yeah, it's a great piece of equipment, and long term I believe it's really going to help with the sustainability and the eco-friendliness of trying to get our garages to being a bit more environmentally friendly. On screen you can see me perfectly demonstrating it here. We put the unit in at RE Performance, which is a garage that's Motul branded. He works with us with some of the stuff that we do, and this was my first ever go. I had Paul from Bio with me, who was training me at the time to give me the knowledge on how I operate it. And this was about 3 minutes of just quickly scrubbing away how to use the machine, and that was the results there for you. Motul value adds. So not only do we do oils and support the garages with our new concepts, new to range parts, and the new innovatives, but we have a full wraparound service that we do to go with that. So when we're working with garages such as RE Performance or particular motorsport garages, we have a 360-degree approach to what we do. So we give you our fluids, we support you with our fluids, we educate you with the right ones that go through it. But our Motul school also gives you the same technical abilities about what we do to your technicians, so they understand why they're doing it. And that also helps when it comes to selling that oil on to new people coming to a garage. We like to activate and support that knowledge base. Again, we work closely with our OEMs, and Camilo's touched on that, so I'm going to swiftly move past that and along with the sponsoring. Communication, we're very active now in the UK of communicating through different channels, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and where you can find our products. And again, supporting that with the merchandising activities and incentives to really educate people and where we are and how we're going to do it. Digitalisation. We've got a full package now. The website has been updated. You can see all our products online there. We have a application loops finder, so if you want to go and have a look to see what the correct oil for your application is or your model, you can jump on there, put your VRM in, and it will help guide you to the best oil grade, the best specification, and the range of products that are applicable to your vehicle. We also have a dealer locator on there, which will allow you to find particular garages and our distributors to help access you to get the product. And we've also just downloaded and launched it this year is our Motul app, so you can put it on your phone, put it into your car, and at any point you know exactly what oils you used, and for the next time you come around to service or looking after your car, you can quickly access that information. So just a quick roundup of why we're here and some of the things that we're doing over Silverstone. Obviously it's our 300V anniversary. We're celebrating that tomorrow with a Motul parade where we've got some iconic cars which were filled with Motul oil right from the early 1960s. We'll have a guest appearance tomorrow from the 2021 BTCC car, which is running the most modern technology, running the Motul 300V oil. The BioClean, we've got our launch of our new 80s and 90s oil, which I'm asking you to look at. and our car care. So, I got loud very quick. I'd just like to wrap up and say thank you for attending the media event. We really appreciate your time and listening to our stories. Hope you enjoy the vehicles and the cars. Feel free to talk to everyone. And yeah, any questions, just grab a Motul person. Thank you.
Okay, but one last thing that we have to do before we go. We promised you a car unveiling, and we're going to be true to our word on that. But first of all, if I'd like to call up Nigel Bottom, who's the MD of Witham Group, and also Richard Hall, who is MD of GBS, Great British Sports Cars, and really they are the guys behind this coming together. So Nigel, tell us how the idea of the Motul Edition GBS Zero came about.
I could break anything. Hi everyone. First of all, thanks everyone for coming on behalf of Witham Motorsport and all the distributors here as well. So the GBS project, I think everything probably Camillo said, Andy said, Callum said, Hugh said, everyone from Motul has said already, all about the quality and what goes in behind the oil and what's part of Motul and everything too. We wanted to try and show that in a vehicle because frankly, and probably slightly embarrassingly, oil is quite difficult to show off. So we wanted to start with the concept of a piece of metal, a billeted piece of metal, and how Motul could then involve that piece of metal to bring something that could be raced on the track or on the road. So we know these guys, we know the GBS guys, Great British Sports Cars for a number of years, and very impressed with Richard's abilities and uniqueness. And please, you've got, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 hours. You want to talk about cars, parts, everything. Talk to Richard. He'll download on he knows everything and more. So we went to Richard, asked him about the concept, discussed it for a number of years or a number of months, and then said, how can we involve everything that's great about Motul and put it into one vehicle? So we started off with these pieces of metal, and on we went. So totally off script. Sorry, Simon. I'll pass you back.
So really wanted to know what makes the GBS Zero Motul Edition special. What's it got that you might not find in another GBS car?
So we've been using Motul products for a number of years, and then the idea to build a car using all Motul fluids, so right from the manufacturing, so from the raw steel entering the factory on a basic chop saw, Motul fluids in all the CNC machines, through the whole build, and then lubricants in the car once it was finished. And that quality of fluids has gone throughout the build. Then we put Motul detailing on all the interior, a lot of the parts, which you can see as you look around the car.
Yeah, thank you very much. As many of you will know, the car was the subject of a nationwide design competition, and we have the winners here today. We have Martin Lines, whose design you will see shortly emerging from under the tarpaulin. And we also have 10-year-old Kyra Milburn, who won our Young Designer competition, and it's great to see them both here. I didn't get out of the way because we put together a little video to show you how the car came together, and if you would run that one, we'll have a
massive. Really excited for this one. Obviously it's going to be a lot different to any of the other builds that I've done.
Working with a global brand, producing a one-off car like this is a massive opportunity for GBS.
Motul, one of the global partners and global leaders of the lubricant industry, are going to be part of every single bit of this finished build.
Everything that we can customise on this one will be customised. It's going to look fantastic.
All the oils used in the manufacture of the car, in the shock absorbers, in the brake fluid, in the engine, everything's all from Motul, and so the car is Motul-made.
Motul itself isn't just about engine oil. We're a lubricants manufacturer, and we cast, drill and fill every part of this car, from the making of it, from the casting is using Motul lubricants, the drilling process and the componentry is Motul lubricants, and finally once the engine is built, Motul lubricants are going into the engines.
everything's designed in-house, right from initial concept, sketches, through to the CAD, then onto the machines. Then from the machining side, we do all our own chassis, so more lengths of steel tube, sheet metal, that'd be steel or aluminium. That's all profile cut, folded, all the box section and tubing, the chassis are all cut. So then it goes into the jig to form the chassis structure, which is all powder coated. Then all the aluminium traditional bodywork goes on, which is all bonded to the chassis. Then we also make our own shock absorbers for the car, brake calipers, front hubs, sumps on the engines, fuel caps, numerous other little machine components, that all just add to the overall vehicle.
The machines are exceptionally high tech, but they're nothing without the correct lubricant. Using the correct cutting fluid within the machine, the efficiency, the finished product is second to none.
The actual fluids that we use in engineering the car are key to it, whether that is cutting the raw steel, whether that be the box section or the tube that goes into the exhaust. We use a cutting fluid, which is key.
The quality of an oil in an engine has all the difference to how that engine performs, and when it comes to racing, we're talking temps, and if an engine can help deliver that temps in seconds, it's the difference between winning a championship. For your average going road car, again, it's massively important for fuel efficiencies, lifetime of the engine.
British F4 came to Neil Brown's maybe 4 years ago because they were seeing a lot of differences in the parity of the performance of the engine. We see a lot of heat soak in the engines. This will break down and degrade the oil. And fortunately, the Motul 300V, through some longevity testing that we've done on the dyno cells and with some race teams, we could see that there's a drop off in temperatures from the 300V range, so it made good sense to go down that road. So we knew that we wouldn't be, degrading the oil, seeing molecules spliced, which would have an effect on the bearings of the engine, the longevity of the engine, and ultimately the performance.
300V range is our competition oil specs, which has been developed on the racetrack with race cars and different engine disciplines over a sustained period of time. And has become one of the most recognisable motorsport oils for competitors to use.
All the four-wheel Motul-Made lubricant for the series this year and going forward. BTCC, we're involved with many engines within the BTCC pack, over 80% are either racing with our lubricant or we've actually had it factory fitted or test bedded with it, and all that knowledge and all that interest is going to be placed into basically the GBS Motul Zero project.
The engine going into the GBS Motul Edition chassis is going to be a Ford Duratec 2.5 litre engine. The engine was chosen because of the synergy with the British F4 Championship. It runs a Ford 1.6 EcoBoost engine, so it made sense to choose an engine from the Ford family of engines, as Motul are now the lubricant sponsor and a mandated lubricant for the British F4 Championship.
We'll pose a bit of a competition to help design the livery of the car, so how that will look. And then our reveal will be at the Silverstone Classic show, or the Classic Silverstone show this year, where we will show the car to the public in press.
But we're under a tight schedule because this car's got to be finished, ready, timed, tested, tracked, make sure it's working.
We're on a tight one with this one really, as everything is handmade here, so we'll make it all on site. The panels are all fitted by hand. There's no big machines that will bond the panels on for you. Obviously that's done by hand as well. Everything that's bent is done by hand. All the bonnets, the scuttles, the back panels, all done by hand.
So not only have we got to get the car done, we've got to get the car to Silverstone, we've got to get this design done for the competition, and then we've got to get the design wrapped and put into position, ready for that first parade, which is going to be fairly special as well, with 50 cars all related to 300V through the 50 years of Motul.
Okay, enough of behind, but now it's time to reveal the GBS Zero Motul edition in all its glory, and I'd like to have Martin Lines, who won the competition, and Hugh Dowdin, who's Motul's director, to unveil the car. If I could ask you to step on each side of the car. Thank you very much indeed, everybody.
Enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy and hit the bell icon and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. Whilst you're at it, subscribe to browncarguy.com and follow me on social media by just searching for my hashtag. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even on TikTok. If you love my content, then please consider sponsoring and supporting it, and you can do that over at patreon.com/browncarguy. And you know what? You can use my platforms to promote your product, service, or brand. My YouTube channel is now closing in on 3,000 subscribers as I record this. Total views are nearly 500,000, and the reach just over the last month is nearly 1 million. So join these amazing people as my patrons, including Mohammed Humaid in the UAE, Partha in India, a tech guru and social media consultant. Find him on parthans.com. Tom Conway Gordon here in the UK, Isaac Beauchard in the US. He's got some great deals on cool cars at bespokeautos.com. Reza Adil, check him out at Alizadeh Cigars on Instagram. Mohammed Qasim, business consultant. You can find him at wehms.com. Siraj Abbasi at Tiles Italia on Instagram for luxury floor and wall tiling. Mark Waddell in Canada. Zach Kogiani, a globe-trotting pilot with amazing images for sale at zachkogiani.com. And last but not least, my school champ Shaheer Hakki. Thanks for watching. More cool vids on the way. Catch you again in the next one.